Hi guys, it's Betmaster Ben back again for Sportsbet TV. Now, if you followed the tips last week, you would have been very happy to collect that 10-1 odds with amazing odds, amazing tips last week. This week, we have got bigger odds to bring you this week, much bigger odds, and I have a very special guest, Louis Beneventi. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel.
It's bigger odds with a much bigger person.
Exactly.
I'm happy to be here.
We needed the bigger odds to fill the bigger person. That's what it is.
You need to fill the quotas. I completely get it. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Exactly. But anyway, let's get straight into the betting. We've got tips to bring you from football, darts, and boxing. So it's a big weekend of betting this weekend. First tip is going to be in the Premier League. It is Liverpool against Leicester, and the tip is Liverpool to win and both teams to score. How are you feeling about that one?
Look, I think Liverpool's defence this season, it's obviously still very good, but it's not as strong as it was obviously in that campaign last year. Obviously only losing one game, fantastic run to the Champions League final, obviously going on to win it. Virgil van Dijk has looked shaky, obviously being beaten in the Champions League this week by an 18-year-old or 19-year-old in against Red Bull Salzburg. Obviously,
exactly. So actually, attackers are starting to dribble past him now.
Exactly. So obviously, that's something that was interesting. More importantly, obviously Leicester are in very inspiring form.
Yeah.
They're obviously really pushing for that top four place. Brendan Rodgers has brought out the breast of some fantastic talent. Obviously, Jamie Vardy's been banging them in since he arrived. I think that's a very good tip. Obviously, both teams have scored. Liverpool will score. They're at home. They're at Anfield. They obviously love playing there. And they do have a lot of goals up front in Mane and Salah.
Firmino as well.
And Firmino as well. Firmino's more someone who kind of enables the pairing of Mane and Salah a bit more. But those are obviously the two danger men. Origi, if he decides to turn up, if he does play. So look, I think that Liverpool obviously have that threat as the Leicester. It's a very good tip for me.
I'm saying, moving on to Leicester as well, they've got what players they have as well. When you look at James Maddison, the two attacking fullbacks, they got Chilwell and Pereira, and then obviously, like you mentioned, Jamie Vardy up front. So they're definitely worth a goal up in Anfield. But anyway, moving on to the next tip is moving down to the Championship in high-flying Leeds, who are actually on scintillating form at the moment, the best away form in the Championship, who travel to lower league, well, not lower league, but lower league Millwall. So the tip is Leeds to win. What are you feeling about that one?
Look, I think Leeds' form this season is, like you're saying, it's scintillating, having obviously won 6 out of their 10 games, 2 draws, 2 losses here, 14 goals, only 5 against. Millwall, on the other hand, here, if you're looking at them, they've only won 2 of their games and they've scored 8 and conceded 13 goals. Yeah. So to be honest, look, they're not in the best of form. They've lost a few of their last games. In fact, they haven't won in 5 games, having drawn their last one, lost the 2 beforehand and drew the 2 before that as well. Leeds, on the other hand, they lost their last game. Their form's a bit topsy-turvy, obviously 2 losses in their last 5 games, but they're looking solid. They're progressing under Bielsa again. I think this is a great call. Honestly, I think Leeds might actually turn Millwall over quite convincingly this weekend.
Yeah, and you look at last season where you saw, the first part of the season, Bielsa and Leeds looked absolutely amazing. They dropped off towards the end of the season, and I think Bielsa would have learnt from that. And I think Leeds are probably the strongest tip to get promoted this season.
I'd agree with that. I think obviously Swansea as well. I've got the table up in front of me. Swansea are looking good, but the thing I love about the Championship is how unpredictable it is. You look at these teams. Swansea could be dropping off right out of the playoffs within a few weeks. Obviously, it's very early in the season to start talking about who could be going up, obviously, and having the tips. But look, I look at this. There are teams here which you wouldn't expect to be there as well. Charlton up in 8th. They've just been promoted. They're looking tasty as well. For me, I think Leeds after last season, like you're saying, Bielsa's learned. He is a top quality manager. He's not won anything, and as a Chelsea fan, that's a big thing for me. But winning things.
Well, it makes sense that Pochettino learned everything he did from Bielsa.
Yeah, but what's Pochettino won then?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. But both in terms of their style of football, very good, very progressive. Bielsa obviously being known for that sort of stuff. He's a top tier manager in terms of level, obviously going in the top divisions. I think it'll be very interesting to see what will happen with Leeds this year under Bielsa. And I think that tip to this weekend alone, I think it's a very smart one to go with.
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's like Leeds up front, they've got Eddie Nketiah on loan from Arsenal, who's absolutely been smashing it out this season. Saying that though, away to Millwall's not an easy place to go.
No, it's not an easy place to go. And Millwall is a place which Bermondsey and obviously
stuff have the crowd on top.
No one likes you, no one likes us. We don't care. That's the mentality of Millwall. and obviously I think it can go for them and it can go against them. I think for a team like Leeds, who have a similar mentality, I don't think it's going to be a big thing. I think it will be a tasty game. I think it might be a few cards as well. If people fancy putting tips on that,
it'll be tasty on and off the pitch. I guarantee you that.
Exactly. So look, I think it's going to be a great game of football to watch this weekend.
Definitely. All right, and moving on to the third tip of the fourfold, it goes to Germany. Bayer Leverkusen are at home to Red Bull Leipzig, which promises to be a very, very feisty encounter.
That's wunderbar.
Yeah. The last 3 times this fixture has been played in the Bayer Leverkusen stadium has been 4-2 to Leipzig, 4-1 and 3-2. So that's
a lot of goals.
Exactly. This is a game that promises goals. So the tip we're going for is both teams to score. How are you feeling about that one?
Completely agree. Like we said, a lot of goals. There's been only once in the past few games where there's been a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Leipzig looking good, obviously second in the table in comparison to Bayer Leverkusen, but only on goal difference. Now that's a big thing as well. I think that both sides are very good. Obviously, Leverkusen last season had fantastic players come out. Obviously, your Julian Brandts, your Havertz as well. Leon Bailey, some fantastic talent there. But the same guys for RB Leipzig. Obviously, Timo Werner has been their key man for the past few years. So it'll be interesting to see how that encounter goes. I think, I completely agree. Lots of goals. See what happens.
There's always goals in a game when Timo Werner's playing, let's be honest. And if you look at the past games, Leverkusen's past games and Leipzig's past games, pretty much every single one of those games has gone over 2.5 goals. So I think both teams to score is a good tip for this weekend. And moving on to the last tip of the fourfold, it goes to the Chelsea game on Sunday. I've got a man next to me who can talk to you about that one better than I can. We are going for both teams to score away at Southampton, Chelsea.
Yes. So, well, I think obviously in the past couple of encounters, Southampton haven't scored any goals against us. However, this season, Chelsea have kept one clean sheet, conceded a lot of goals. Southampton have got a half decent front line. I think they're good. There's a lot of good players in that team, and obviously Ralph Hasenhüttl is a very good manager as well. Can get the best out of players. Lampard as well, great manager. Just thought I'd get that in there. But I think both teams to score. It depends how we set up. If we go with a 3-4-3, you're likely to see a bit more tentative football. I think we'll still score. See, Tammy Abraham's been on absolute fire this season. Mason Mount, obviously a lad from Portsmouth, so this will be a big game for him because Southampton and Portsmouth hate each other. In case people watching didn't know. So he'll want to turn up there. We'll score definitely. I'm pretty certain of that. Whether Southampton will, I think it's all in their favour at the minute. Like I said, Chelsea conceding a lot of goals, so if they don't score, they'll be joining the only team, which was Brighton, to not score against Chelsea Football Club. So I think that's the best tip of the weekend for me. What's my tip? I'm a bit biased though. So.
Yes, having a look at the last few Chelsea games, last few Southampton games, both teams to score seems to be a recurring theme in both teams. So I think that's a good tip. And you can get that fourfold at William Hill at 11-1, which is mega odds. I brought you my highest odds I've ever done on here at 10-1 last week, and it's a winner. This week it's 11-1, and I guarantee you it's going to be a winner this week as well. So get your money on that, and we'll collect our Wonga at the end of the week. But we have got some more tips to bring to you today. Let's move on to darts. We're going to go over to Josh Green and see what he has to offer.
Hello and welcome back to Sportsbet TV, where I'm bringing you our weekly darting tip for the week, this time centering around the World Grand Prix in Dublin. Today's tip is James Wade to win the tournament, of course starting on Sunday evening and running the full week to the following Sunday evening, with the final will be played, of course, just outside Dublin in Saget. Michael van Gerwen is the favourite going into the tournament. He's around 6-4 to win the tournament, and just behind him you've got the likes of Rob Cross, Gary Anderson, Peter Wright. Slightly down the betting order, Michael Smith and Glenn Durrant, but placed around 9th in the betting order is James Wade, around 20-1 to win the tournament. It's of course a tournament that he's won 2 times before, winning in 2007 and 2010, but has had 4 consecutive first round defeats in recent years. So 4 first round defeats, but a 2-time winner of the tournament. So we'll just have to see how Wade gets on in the early rounds, and if he'll face Michael van Gerwen in the quarters. But 20-1 James Wade to win the World Grand Prix in 2019.
Thanks, Josh. Let's hope that comes through for us this weekend. And moving on to the boxing tip we have for you this weekend, it promises to be a very feisty encounter in the Golovkin match. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
So obviously Golovkin is going for the IBO and the IBF middleweight titles, both vacant, and he's taken on, I'm going to have to read his name because I'm really struggling here, Sergey Derevyanchenko.
Derevyanchenko.
That's the one. Derevyanchenko, obviously the Ukrainian fighter. Both have only lost one fight. Both are going for the title here. Both are great fighters. Obviously, Derevyanchenko, got it, nailed it. 71.45 knockout percentage, but Golovkin just tips it and shadows it with 85.37 in terms of his knockout records. Golovkin, obviously, for this fight, is the favourite. He is the man which everyone knows about. The man which is known to, obviously, the people that aren't necessarily that involved in their boxing, but both fighters are amazing, and Triple G, I think, is just going to show this. Obviously, our tip for this fight is a Triple G decision at 6-4.
All right, so there you have it. This is our tips for the weekend. We've given you boxing, we've given you darts, we've given you some football. Like, comment and subscribe and tell us what you think of our tips. Tell us if you've got on, and more importantly, tell us when you've won. Happy punting, guys.
See ya.